Yo ho, Abby. This is your first time in the stream. Welcome to the stream, sir. I'm actually not sure pronouns. I'll say Epi. Let's use your name. Who needs a pronoun? Who needs an honorific, dude? Honestly, Japanese has too many honorifics ever. Anyway, we don't need any more of those. That's a great transition to start the stream. My camera's coming. Go down. Lamau. Indeed. I agree. Truly. And I need to get the latency lower. I can't. I'd have to. Not for real. Oh yeah, you're learning Japanese. Yeah. Suffering, dude. Keigo suffering, dude. Honestly, Keigo's not that bad. It's just there's too much. Y'all need that many levels of honor, dude. Most people are not that honorable. You don't need to honor them. They fucking suck. Fuck those guys. Fuck every motherfucker. And honestly, Keigo does not get used that much. If you were using crazy Keigo, something's going on. What are you doing? This was a banger jam, dude. I love this one. I still jam on these riffs. Well, welcome Epi. Welcome everyone who comes to enjoy the stream or the VOD. We're at a new great time, new morning time. Somehow I ended up with a bunch of like European secret does Riz is so high. You know, I wish I could agree with you, but right now my mask is completely fucking stuck. Okay, hold on. There we go. Got it. Using my own stream as a mirror. Incredible. This is the first part of the stream. This is where I talk about what I've been doing lately. This week I've been really enjoying Hassan Piker stream. One of the streamers, along with some European chick, Epi, who inspired me to start this whole content journey that I have just begun here. Getting into about 6 months, right? 7 months? I take so many breaks, though. I don't know. I'm not really consistent with it. I'm not really grinding it right now. I'm just kind of having fun. Just kicking it off, seeing where I land with all this stuff. A new morning time. You can see the sunlight behind me. We've got natural light. Perfect backlighting. You know what I mean? We love backlighting here. I've been enjoying Hassan Piker's stream. He went to Japan. He was in Japan for this whole week. And yeah, it was like looking in a mirror of myself, you know. I guess it was like it was like 5 years ago when I first went to Tokyo. Man, it was awesome. And especially his last stream he just did was IRL stream where he went around to all these snack bars. They're called just these, you know, snack bars are like these little alley bars where they sort of offer conversation, human interaction as part of the service, which is just the most insane capitalistic thing you can imagine. Commoditized human interaction. You know, we love that. Commoditized human interaction. I would never. Who would do that? I mean, it's great. It's a classic. The oldest profession, as some would say. And so we are here. I really enjoyed that. That was super fun. Definitely check out that, although I don't think I need to promote Hassan Piker's streams. But you know, it was cool. It was fun. You ever thought about going to Japan? It's just a nice little week of content of just a weeb geeking out about really the most normal stuff that you could possibly geek out about. Other things, new Attack on Titan movie, basically short film, dropped. Honestly, it's kind of like not that interesting of a part of the last section, you know. Are they gonna do this in 3 pieces? Are they gonna do it in 2? Are we gonna do it in 4? I don't know. No one knows what MAPPA's doing. I don't even know if MAPPA knows what they're doing. I'm gonna save the Attack on Titan episode for once it's all said and done. You know, once it's all out. I was thinking about doing it this weekend, but I don't think, honestly, the hype for this episode is that high. Again, this is sort of not, you know, the Hanji scene was cool. That's obviously very moving. And a great, well, again, I have my takes about the ending of AOT. You know, it is, in the proper sense of the word, a real train wreck, a storytelling train wreck. In a lot of ways. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I have personal problems with it, but that's a story for another time. The animation was crazy. The direction was great. You know, Aaron's derangement, the horror of the rumbling, the you know, all of the survivors being max depresso mode, all of that was beautifully captured in that in the episode. Enjoyed it a lot, as much as I have you know, issues with the storytelling. So that was cool. Anything else? I've just been grinding out a lot of coding. I'm finishing up this coding boot camp, trying to transition into a data science career. This month I want to get my CV, resume, LinkedIn, GitHub all cooked up and nice. So in the back half of the month, and then the rest of however long it takes, I can just be grinding out applications for data analytics, data science jobs. And once I get all that settled, I'm planning to turn up the gas on the content creation as a hobby. The content, the music stuff, I got mega plans in motion. New moves coming through. New jeans. Question mark? I don't really like K-pop. Okay. But whatever. What else? I think that's about it. Oh, I read Apothecary Diaries. Of course. What am I saying, dude? I read Apothecary Diaries. Wow, bro, you've gotta read Apothecary Diaries. Everyone, every fucking buddy, go read Apothecary Diaries. One of the best manga running right now. One of the top selling manga this last week, for good reason, because it's incredible. Absolute banger. There's a few chapters here and there that are kind of not that interesting, but in the classic mystery novel style, it takes all these little bits and pieces of stuff that you think are a little sleeper, and then boom, builds them into bigger mystery arcs with, you know, the secret, true mastermind behind all of the mysteries, right? It's so good, so good. I love it. Absolutely incredible. One of my favorites, for sure. One of my favorites running right now, for sure. I mean, that one, obviously Chainsaw Man, Dungeon Meshi, Raren went on hiatus due to health issues. We gotta, this industry, dude. That's what we're talking about today. So I guess Raren doesn't count as running, but you know, Dungeon Meshi, Apothecary Diaries, Chainsaw Man, and Stupid Loaf. Oh, and Sign of Affection. I would say those are my 5 major bangers currently running across all genres. Absolutely incredible works. And yeah, I'm all caught up with Apothecary Diaries, which always makes me sad because it's like a monthly mystery, which is just, that's just devastating, dude. A monthly mystery? Come on. God. Hype for the next chapter. Probably got another 20 days to wait. 3 more weeks. Yeah. You know what I mean? I always end up waiting like 2-3 years with monthlies to come back to them. You know what? It's fine. There's plenty of comics to read. I want to start reading Saga again. I had no idea Saga started coming back. And I want to do that. Oh! In this channel news, we've got the Manga Crash interview that's out. That got a little bit of the smallest bit of attention. You know, doing good. Doing good for the size of the channel. You love to see. I'm having a lot of fun with these interviews. I'm trying to get better. Honestly, I fucked up a lot as an interview, but you know, we improve. We get better. We look back and we learn, and you know, I learned a lot from it, and we had a fun time talking about stuff, Portugal, etc. I think it's about it. I think it's about it for the personal news. Yeah. Can't really think of anything else. Hope of everybody out there having a good life. Having your own personal news go well. Let's just get right into it. Today we were doing a cool react, and by cool react I mean majorly depressing react, but important stuff to think about as anime fans, anime enjoyers of this content, as consumers of a commodity. Consider the production of that same commodity. Absolutely not. Today we are talking about the production of anime as a commodity. Okay, OBS. What is this? Image? Lamau. Makima jump scare there. Wide Makima. Truly wide. And manga too. And this is an issue that everybody knows. You know, there's all the memes about MAPPA animators never seeing their families. Uh, you know, super low pay. The salaries are trash. The work is long. And even then, the product gets scuffed all the time. And in this environment, there is one YouTube channel that has put itself together. I mean, it has a YouTube channel. It is an animator dorm, a small, basically co-op, a live-in co-op of animators that was started by a veteran of the industry who wanted to build his own infrastructure for trying to do what he could to improve the conditions of young animators trying to get into the industry, because there's so much attrition at the start of the careers, right? As animators are starting their career, I think it's like 90% just stop, even if they're good, because it's not sustainable as a life under capitalism. Imagine surviving under capitalism. You know what I mean? Couldn't be me. It's literally not me. Incredible. It's not many people nowadays. I'm just gonna start jumping to the React there. Good time to pause the jam. We just got through our first cycle of the jam. And I'm gonna pull up the video here. See my recommendations there. Oops. Oopsies. Alright. And of course, if you are not subbed to this channel, the Animators Dormitory channel, please, 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 please go give them loves. Help them get whatever revenue sources they can get their hands on, because they're doing something extremely important in the industry. The title of this video is Why Anime is on the Rise Even Though the Industry is so poor. I know some people enjoy this content as a podcast, just listening. It is, not the most visually engaging stream in the world. It's just a dude in a mask sitting talking. So I will try to narrate what they're talking about as we're going through. Of course, the reacts will comment on it. I'm gonna let their work speak for itself, because they cover these issues more concisely than I probably can. So get into it. All right, this is actually a clip that they uploaded from a different YouTube channel, where Toshio Okada talks about, who's an anime producer, talks about production committees, which are the long arm of capitalism that dips its, fingers into the pie of anime production. So here we're gonna hear about that. All right, we're gonna learn about production committees. Let's go. Okay, banger OST. Love that. Love that banger OST. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. We jamming. Oh yeah. Wait, he's the founder of Gynex? Okay, I didn't actually know that. Okay, Go did dude worked on Gunbuster, Nadia, God, started Gynex. Uh Now he does YouTube. Okay, alright guys. We got the React Ultra Inception Animator Dorm channel cutting a clip from this other dude's YouTube channel. Now I'm reacting to the cut clip on the Animator's Dorm channel, which I love, and the dude himself is recounting something that another anime producer said to himself. So we're, you know, we're off it. We're off. Alright, so the question is, number of animes coming out, and yet everybody has no money. Come on, dude. He's saying I'm not trying to say, you know, who's good or bad. Say it. Say it, dude. Say it, dude. Let's go. Become based. Alright, let's see. We're talking about production committees. What's the real problem with production committees? All right, let's bust this up a little live production, okay? Eve Monopoly Man. All right, we're gonna help him out. We're gonna go along with this, okay? Let me pull this over here. Monopoly Man. I'm gonna need one of this. I'm gonna need a little bit of this. Okay. Absolutely. Boom. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here's the story. Oh no. Uh, this is a production committee. Right here. There we go. Okay, I didn't spell it right. I don't care. Come on, just let me. Yeah. There we go. Okay, he said there's lots of different people on production committees. He is the type of guy who's on a production committee. He's a producer, right? Obvious. But for the purposes of this, we are casting them as evil capitalists. Yes, the production committee is investment. So basically, the production committee, you get a bunch of people with money together to fund the production of the anime, right? All right, so they're investing in it, and just like every investment board of directors, stock ownership, whatever, people have different stakes. People invest different amounts, it gives them different stakes. Right? Okay, just like in terms of the cost, he's saying for like a Ghibli movie, it's going to be about 20-30 million dollars. Right. Okay. So for like 20-30 million for normal investments and like whatever, uh, if you're doing like a 20-30 million dollar project, you're gonna be trying to get, you know, hundreds, 100, 200 investors in your company to try and drum that up, because that's sort of like normal risk sharing for a project of that size. But there are not that many in anime production communities. If you've seen those, there's like 5 or 6. Yes. Right. So because entertainment is such a hot commodity, and also such a, how do I put this? It's kind of like, it's free real estate, baby. You know, once the movie's out, there's everybody who watches it is just, that's just money, baby. Like, it's kind of sick to be really leveraged on entertainment like this if you can be. Right, so it basically becomes this investment war. People want control over the production, they want control over the eventual profits, so they're, running this stuff. They're saying the stake that you usually find for anime production is about 20 to 40% for investor. Right. So you have these big majority shareholders, and then the rest of the shares get split. All right, he's saying in the classic Japanese capitalist mode, it's all about connections, all about collusion. Who knows who, backdoor, stuff, dirty dealing. Let's get down to the tax, all right? And name some names, brother. Come on, let's go. He's not gonna do that. That's an interesting point. So he says that normally, if you're looking at like investors coming together, if investors start pulling out, that's like a bad sign. But when you have big, over leveraged majority investors like this, other smaller investors can drop out and they can still get credit for like the failed production. Okay, bro. Dude, this guy's funny, bro. I'm about to sub to this guy's channel. All right, so it's going through a case study here. Mm, interesting point. Oh, okay. That's an interesting point. So for the listeners, he's saying that production budgets get capped because these majority shareholders, it's in their interest to keep the budget capped so that their investment remains the majority investment and other investors can't take control of the production. He's going through some details of how that would work, but yeah. Okay, he's getting a little lost in the weeds in terms of the example, but to sort of summarize, maybe I can skip through here. Da, 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 da. 20 projects. Okay, so basically he's gonna go through an example here of how that would work out, but what he's saying is that anime ends up with these really tight budgets, and this is true for film, Japanese films too, which is also sort of in a similar situation to anime, and just like media in general. Follow like a Japanese media production. Just think of like Japanese dramas as compared to Korean dramas. Like right now, there's all these Korean dramas that are popping off on Netflix, and a lot of them have what seems to be, incredible cinematography, acting, directing budgets. Meanwhile, Japanese dramas are kind of stuck in this production mode. They're basically stuck in like the early thousands, like the 90s, early thousands kind of setup. Even though there's clearly an international market for, shows and movies in different languages. Not like Korean is a mystical, magical language that is bewitching the world. It's just that, Their TV dramas are good. And part of making a good product is getting, you know, as the product gains more traction, you have more room to leverage more investment, and that it should let you snowball into better production, better budgets, and more traction in the global marketplace. Is what, you know, we would expect to see in anime. And, you know, right? But that's not what's happening. The reason being is that investors want to have control of the production because they're capitalist losers, and they want control of the production, but they don't want to get into bidding wars with other investors, so they kind of collude together to fix cap of investment per project, which of course means that animator salaries are capped. And so, you know, studios are fighting for their life, trying to do whatever they can with these budgets that have been fixed by people higher up, like people who aren't even involved in the production. So the money that studios have to work with is being limited not by, you know, interest in the product, how much they're gonna sell, the potential profits here. It's being limited by this kind of power struggle between different companies investing through the production committee system. Mm. Okay, State of the World didn't list Americans at all. Lamau, get fucked. Mm. Right. Ah. So these Japanese companies, then, in order to, you know, in the most xenophobic move possible, because animators don't give a shit where the money's coming from, right? Like he said, these Japanese companies which are setting these ceilings on investment then reduce their own risk by acting as, oh, this middleman. What a classic capitalist move. Middlemaning as like an investment portal for foreign entities. So they gather foreign money that they invest, that they get to bring into their own company, which they then ship into these production budgets. So they keep out the foreign investors, make sure that the industry remains almost completely domestic while minimizing their own risk. It's a good. I mean, they're playing the dirty game. It's a dirty game. It's a dirty world. Right, and because they want to keep doing this rather than getting a smaller number of shows with better budgets, more production that hit bigger and make more money, which they could be doing, instead, get all of these products spread out, um, which is why the number of shows season over season is increasing, which I would add from a fan perspective it's not even good. Like I'm not gonna watch all this shit, dude. I don't have fucking time for that. I didn't watch anything this season. There were so many. There were hella anime that came out. I didn't watch anything because I was just like, the fall season was insane. I was just chilling, reading manga, dude. Mm-hmm. Mm. 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 He's proposing an interesting idea here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure. All right. Now we're getting to the ending here, and I'm gonna do exactly what the dormitory channel did, which is cut off the clip and do my own do my own thing. That was a great explanation of exactly what's going on in the industry, and uh, the problems of this stuff have been discussed again and again. Um, The production committees produce a lot of problems, a lot of other problems even than that, right? Because even besides producing, putting this kind of cap, which I didn't really know about, kind of cap on potential investment in products, which could, increase the money going to the workers, I guess. Yeah, we'll see about that. Sure. I bet that's exactly where all that money go. You know what I mean? I'm 100% sure. You know what? When companies get a lot of investment, when their budgets expand, everybody knows that the number one thing that they do with that money is increase the salaries of their worker, right? So, there's more problems than this. There's the larger problem of the fact of investors owning the copyright rights, distribution, licensing stuff after the fact anyway. So, the lack of worker ownership is an issue. Bunch of people, the actual workers who put in the hard work to make the stuff, are completely detached, alienated from the actual, you know, community response expressed through buying goods, buying merch. Um, they don't get any of that money. All that money comes back to the investors. We love those. We love it when rich people just do whatever they want and it doesn't matter and they just keep making money. That's great. You know what I mean? Workers, what's those? You know what I mean? They're all gonna be AI anyway soon. Maybe we'll talk about that this episode. It is related. Um, so there's the cap that he's talking about, but there's also just the fact that you know, these committees are like he's talking about how there's these big outsized, not majority share, but plurality share investors that dictate the general direction of the production. But there's also the fact that the company themselves, the actual production company that's making the show, doing the stuff, um, they are almost always a far minority investor. So, however, the eventual revenue and profits of the production get split, the actual company full of the actual workers that actually make the thing are getting a vast minority share of money, which this channel has talked about that issue before, actually in their introduction to why things are the way they are and what they're trying to do with their dormitory project. And in this context, that's why MAPPA going 100% funding on Chainsaw Man is actually a super huge deal for the industry. It's actually really, really huge, because what it means is that basically MAPPA is kicking the door down on this whole thing and saying, we don't need any of your help, bro. We don't need any of your losers' money, all right? Get out of here, stinky rich guys, all right? We, the otaku, are gonna run the whole show, and it's all coming back to us. Now, again, that's only sort of one step of the process because, sure, if MAPPA, the company, makes all the money and revenue, that's better than like random shareholders battling it out, because it is actually going back to corporation that made the thing. The company that produced the product is actually getting all the money rather than randos who just wanna random rich people who just want to dabble in an anime. Um, but you know, I work for a company. That company gets 100% of the profits from my labor, and yet, you know, I don't get paid that much, even though I could get paid more. So we'll see what MAPPA does with the Chainsaw Man profits that they've already made and that they're continuing to make with, you know, the gallery that just opened, and they're gonna have a big event in like a month here, and then I think maybe on Tuesday or in a couple days we're gonna see uh, another announcement about the Chainsaw Man. Hopefully, season 2. Come on, dude. If we could get season 2 this year, that'd be crazy. That'd be awesome. We'd love to see that. MAPPA animators. Jesus Christ. Right, so, the production committee issue is just one part of the issue. Broadly speaking, this is a labor issue, and Japan has probably some of the worst labor rights in the world. It's competing with America. Well, not anywhere, but in G7 developed nations, America and Japan are uniquely bad in their, well, not uniquely. They're fighting. They're fighting for the top spot of how much they can grind workers dust. Really, just labor rights, labor. I'm not doing that, bro. Um, yeah. So, this thing he added in there is just another part of the story and explains this strange phenomenon we're seeing of more and more anime getting pushed out, but nothing even going back to the studios, let alone the workers. Right? First, it has to go to the studios, or can ever make it to the workers. Then, at the studios, we'll see if there's any sort of unionization effort sometime. I Animator strike, dude. Animator strike. Come on. Come on, dude. Animator strike. Let's go. Give me the animator strike. I want it so bad, dude. God, please. Weebs would lose their mind, dude. It would be horrific, but it should happen, dude. It should happen. Unionize anime. Unionize anime. Let me get it going, dude. Unionize anime. Boom, 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 boom. Unionize anime. Unionize anime. Animator strike. I mean, this should be happening world around because not even just the anime industry. I mean, the anime industry is horrifically bad to the point that many people outside Japan don't even like to take outsourcing from Japanese studios because they just won't pay. Like, the Japanese studios are like, well, we're not going to pay you like the normal amount. We have to pay you less. And they're like, yeah, well, I'm not going to do that, dude. That's why outsourced Japanese, that's why outsourced anime ends up so scuffed. Even though outsourcing in and of itself doesn't mean the quality is going to be bad, but Japanese studios are forced to use the most scuffed as possible outsourcing because they can't afford they can't outsource to Disney people, because even though Disney animator salaries are really bad too, but they're not that bad. The whole thing is just horrific. Unionize anime, animator strike. Unionize anime, animator strike. I'll keep saying it, baby. I'll keep saying it. Stop with the anime. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. So that was a nice little look at just one more horrible phenomenon that capitalist rent seekers are causing in the entertainment space, right? He was talking about how this is happening across film and TV and everything, right? And the anime is just one of the sort of hottest commodities in Japan right now for all of this kind of collusion, backdoor dealings, rent seeking, xenophobic, anti-foreign investor bias, da 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 da. He had the kind of suggestion of producers swinging their own money around a little bit more to try and play the game. You can't win this game, dude. Like, that is lib cope. The correct solution here is, I'll say it again, unionize animators strike. Because, you know, it needs to come back to the animators, man. The people making the stuff aren't gonna make it, dude. They're losing their minds. We also saw that 100-camera documentary about MAPPA making Attack on Titan. It was horrific. They all looked like they were gonna die, man. Because it's not just the money. Like, obviously, they should be getting paid. They should be getting paid insane amounts of money for the level of profit and the level of revenue and profit that these products are bringing in. They should be getting like NBA player, MLB player salaries, right? But the other part of all of those sports unions, worker protections. You know what I mean? The number of games you play, injury protection, right? Where's the injury protection for animators, huh? Why aren't the companies liable for the health issues that these people face when they're overworked? If they were liable, there was some liability clause in the contract that the workers had, some kind of, workman's comp for the industry, well, then you couldn't have MAPPA pushing these people to the brink. Because when they hit the brink and were exhausted and ended up in the fucking hospital, then, MAPPA would be footing the bill, plus legal fees, plus the person would have time off, guaranteed time off. That's not going to come from fixing the investment structure. That only happens from a union and a strike. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Unionize animator strike. I said it again. With that, we're going to go to the break. We're going to come back and I'm going to talk about my main topic for today, which is an extra topic, not an extra topic, but a thing I wanted to talk about in all this. Obviously, you can tell where my political ideology lies in all of this, but when we come back, I want to talk about one other interesting aspect of all this, which is how these capitalistic systems and how all of this, how the production structure of the commodity of anime and manga affects the storytelling that we find, the products that we find. It affects the. We're going to take a look at a couple things, one of which is the weekly serialized manga. The kind of the impact that investment structure and production structure has on the storytelling there, and then we're going to look at original anime series as another example of this. Obviously, adapted series, the impact on the storytelling there is going to come from the impact on manga. That's what we're going to do when we come back. Then I'm going to put the music back on. Unionize animator strike. Let's go. Be back soon. Mm, mm, mm. Oh, it's still there. We're back. Welcome back. And this jam was so much fun, dude. I got another one cooking, dude. I got a nice one cooking, but I wanna actually cook it a little longer. Put a little more effort behind the content. All right, the music's gonna be a little nicer, I think, for the next jam. Although it's still gonna be mostly improvised. Cooking a little bit of a bass line to start. We are back. I was just scrolling Twitter, dude. Twitter is doing this weird thing. Let me pull up this interaction, dude. Like, okay, I'm mutuals with this Japanese dude, Chainsaw Man fan. We were having a little bit of a discussion about part 2. You know, all of his tweets have exactly 11 replies, but then there's no replies at all. Like, you know, this is something, you know, you'll see this from, look, he's got, it says he got 11 replies on the tweet. There's no replies at all. You know, this is something you'll see sometimes from like locked or blocked accounts, but exactly 11 of them all the time, and you can't see any of them. Website is done for. I mean, some people are saying this is like weirdo harassment. They're after me. To me, this has to be a bug. They're all the same. They're all the exact same number. You can't see any of them, because I've seen replies from like, I've seen tweets, replies from like blocked private accounts, and it just says like, you know, you blocked this person, or this person blocked you, or you know, this person protects their tweets or whatever. Like, sometimes you don't see it, but it wouldn't be everyone all the same, right? This is, why couldn't he just leave it alone, man? Why can't these rich people just go away? Speaking of capitalists ruining stuff, ugh. And that's a great segue into what I wanted to talk about. How capitalism affects storytelling. This is a topic. The idea of art as commodity production and the effect that it has on art is something that artists have been, you know, paying attention to and dabbling and considering making art about for a long time. Arguably, that is the central focus of Andy Warhol's entire career, right? Is that there's a Japanese illustrator that collabs all the time, is kind of similar. Really treats art as commodity production, and that's kind of what his art is about. I forget his name, because I don't really like his stuff, but that's just taste. I think the ideas and the content is good. It's just aesthetics, not really my thing. So what's the deal here? Well, let's start with For example, and there's all sorts of ways that this works. Obviously, capitalism is the system that dominates all of our lives. So, in some sense, everything that happens in the world, anywhere, at any point right now, is because of capitalism. But there are specific effects that we're going to look at here. Let's take flashbacks in WSJ. This is one of the probably most hotly contested storytelling mechanics in the Weekly Shonen Jump reader discourse. Right? Weekly Shonen Jump fans are constantly talking about how flashbacks are scuffed, you know, da 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 da, ass pull, da 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 da, you know, didn't set it up, you know, justified in a flashback, not real, not fair, right? And this is, you know, this is a classic point of controversy in popular fiction, right? This is something that, like, you know, mystery fans complain about this shit all the time. They're like, you can't justify the trick of a mystery story in a flashback. That's not fair. You know, you gotta set everything in motion so that, you know, you gotta set it up and realize the setup later on. That's the correct way. That's the proper order. But flashbacks are kind of a mainstay. There are lots of flashbacks in Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man uses flashbacks all the time. You know, I think pretty much every character in Chainsaw Man, except for a few, has you know, majority of their backstory developed through flashbacks at some point. Aki with the Gun Devil, Power's whole sequence with Meowie, Himeno, the entire character of Himeno, Ishibe and Quanshi. We never get a Reze flashback. Come on! Where was the Reze? So even though it is kind of an unfortunate technique in storytelling, you know, justifying the character, justifying the action after the fact, putting the action before the justification, kind of unfair, kind of tricky, kind of dirty play, especially for something like a shonen battle series, where you're having characters fight, and when the fight starts, it's a serial, so the question is, who's gonna win? Well, you want to look at the story thus far, and as the power scalers want to do, puts together the pieces of, this is what this character can do, this is what this character can do, so when they clash, here's sort of how I imagine the fight will go down. And in that context, the flashback is complete bullshit, right? Because all of a sudden, you know, you can just put in a flashback and boom. Oh, in this flashback, I trained this secret extra ability, and now the main character wins instead of the villain, right? Like, oh, okay, he beat the villain because of flashback. Asshole, right? That's bull saying. And in spite of that, I mean, that's just the mode. That's just what happens in the stories. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it works. So why? Why is this understandably frustrating and scuffed storytelling technique so entrenched in Weekly Shonen Jump? It shows up in literally every shonen at some point. Why? The reason flashbacks are so entrenched is because of the production load. It's not because the authors are all scuffed and they suck and they can't write and da da da. It's because of the context in which they are producing this story. It is the mode of production they are engaged in which dictates it. And it's not weekly serials, right? Weekly serialization, not the problem, because you don't have to do flashbacks in weekly serialization. You want to introduce a new idea, well, you just have to have that idea ready to go when you introduce the new characters, so you can set up their whole story front to back. And maybe, yes, you would have to take the story back in time a little bit, but that's perfectly fine to do. 3 years ago, go back in the story, build it all up, bring it up to the present, and there you go. You don't have to flash it back in the middle of another thread. But the reason that that doesn't work is because of something we're going through right now. WSJ axes series like insane. We're seeing that right now. PPPP, very popular, interesting. I didn't really get into it, but PPPP got sort of interesting, not that popular, but good series by all accounts. About music and music competitions, and it's kind of shonen battle setup, but in the context of competitive music, sort of similar to what we're seeing with Akane Banashi and Rakugo Usi. Battles. Applying the battle formula to different stuff, right? I got axed. It was a good series. It was good. Done. Over. Ayashima. The second series by the author of Jigoku Raku. What's his name? Jigoku Raku anime hype, by the way. Raku anime hype. Jigoku Raku anime hype. Let's go. Author. Yuji Kaku, right? He had Ayashima. Second series. Odyssey was kind of bad. Got axed like really quickly. So, enter the mind of a young manga artist. It's picked up by Weekly Shonen Jump. Let's go. Obviously, this is a dream. This is exciting. You're ready to go. But you know that series get axed like crazy. And if your series isn't popular, well, it's just gonna end. Right? And you don't let, like, you know, when, nice. When Safe Baby Streamer W accidentally flashed Twitter, didn't get banned. Let's go. Right, and it's not like the editorial department is gonna give you, like, you know, years notice on this stuff. They maybe don't even have years notice that axes are happening. There's probably some advance notice, right? So that the author has you know, they can at least wrap their story in a way, but not necessarily. Some of these cancellations happen really out of the blue in the middle of arcs, in the worst cases, right? Like, it's pretty bad. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna spend, you know, 7 chapters doing detailed and rigorous setup for all of the elements of the story that you want to tell? You don't even have the luxury to plan that much. You probably maybe have the luxury to plan ahead, I don't know, 4 or 5 chapters, I would guess. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the general shape of this arc and what things are gonna look like 4 or 5 chapters down the road. that is not nearly enough time to avoid the flashback. Right? Will my series continue to exist? Are people gonna be interested in this character? If this character's story isn't interesting into people, you risk ending your whole series. So you need to keep the character high action, engaging, high octane. You can't necessarily do all this setup. The authors that have the leeway to do that are the big time big boys. You can actually see this change in storytelling that happens in One Piece over time as Oda gets more secure in his standing as, like, One Piece never getting canceled, dude. One Piece never getting canceled. It does not matter what happens in the story of One Piece now, it will never get canceled. And so Oda does these huge arcs, like unbelievably long arcs. You know, the Wano arc that just ended was the capstone on like a ultra mega arc that started years ago, you know? And it was a pretty good capstone. Honestly, was it up to par with everything? I think there are better arcs. I think Dressrosa even was a better capstone to that mega arc, the Punk Hazard to, you know, the Luffy Law Alliance, right? That mega arc ended in Dressrosa, and then the Wano story was the end of the mega arc that started in Punk Hazard. Yeah, I know my fucking One Piece, okay? You think I'm a Chainsaw Man fan, bro? I've watched all of One Piece times. I will probably go for 3 at some point, not anytime soon though. 2 is a lot. So, oh, did it again. Okay, let's just not have that. Put this up there. Okay. So, the structure of the stories that we have, this problematic structure of the flashback, exists because of this pressure that authors are under with regards to their storytelling, right? They don't have the leeway to do the kind of long setup that someone like Oda does. So, you know, they have to squeeze the storytelling in when they can, where they can, once their series gets enough traction to survive. Now, over time, that has sort of become a piece of the Shonen Jump genre, right? It's like, it's the cliche of the shonen battle where both parties get their flashback and think about the meaning of this battle in the context of their lives. And if, you know, sort of quote unquote proper traditional storytelling would be to set all that up first and then get to the conflict. But, you know, in order to keep your series high octane, high action, to keep the popularity level high enough so that you don't get axed like insane, well, you get to the battle first. You get people hyped for the battle, and then once you have that hype, once you have that level of interest, that popularity, so you can fucking stay in the magazine, so you can actually tell the stories of these characters that you want to tell, that you have the idea for, well, you secure yourself within the structure of commodity production that you are doing as an artist, producing art as a commodity. You produce art in a way that secures that structure as best as possible, because you have to, otherwise you're acting like crazy and the story's not told at all. So it is like a necessary conclusion of the system of commodity production that these works are built in, it is a necessary conclusion of that flashbacks are the mode of storytelling. Now, over time, people have worked on this, and flashbacks aren't necessarily bad. Like, it's not wrong. Like, I'm saying, like, proper, wrong, you know. But it's risky, right? It opens the door. It's a lot riskier than just doing it the normal, proper way. You have to be very careful with flashbacks that you don't introduce inconsistencies, and it can easily sort of feel cheap, right? Which many people say that lots of times. Whenever there's a big flashback in a Weekly Shonen Jump series, you're gonna have a segment of the population that says, man, this is bullshit. Man, I don't like this. Man, fuck this. And that sucks. But what else are you gonna do? You know, it is what it is. You do what you gotta do. I think, you know, different authors do it better. I actually think one of the things that Black Clover does really well is work within this structure in a way that doesn't feel really bad. It's engaging. The flashbacks aren't too long all the time, and even when they are long ones, they don't. It fits together well. I think that's one of the strengths of it, actually, compared to two other works. He did have that one where he brought back from the dead. Who cares? Right, so there's that. So, you know, weekly serializations, you have this thing with flashbacks. And you can apply this to other kinds of magazines too. There are different tropes in shoujo, sort of like prototypical shoujo storytelling that comes in a similar way. But Weekly Shonen Jump is particularly egregious because they are so aggressive with cutting series. So the pressures of the magazine are a lot more exaggerated than you'll find other places. Might give artists more leeway to, you know, not necessarily be the most popular story in the magazine all the time, but, you know, now and then when it comes back around, when the long arc of the story picks up, hits that climax, you know, you rise back up in the popularity rankings, and that's fine. On Weekly Shonen Jump, you're playing with fire if you do that, so you feel it a lot more. All right, another example. Let's talk about original anime. Let's talk about endings of original anime series. We all know that, I mean, we just watched that video about how anime production schedules and funding and everything keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and there's more and more and more anime, and you're fighting for your life as a fan in the sea of, who even knows what the fuck half these series are. There's so many coming out, and in that sea nowadays, probably like, I'm sure there's been seasons recently where like actually 100% of shows are adaptations, but by far the majority of series every season not original, they're adaptations, which makes sense because you have the full story done. You have the full story done. You just pick up the story, you look at it. Lots of times it's already in manga form, so you have like, manga doesn't really work as a storyboard. Right. My major criticism of recent One Piece is that Oda needs to stop writing his manga like it's a fucking storyboard, alright? Toei can figure it out, dude. They'll be okay. They're not okay, but, you know, whatever. It's their job, bro. Your job is to make the manga good, alright? Stop storyboarding in your series. But it's never getting canceled. He can do whatever the fuck you want. Anyway. And thing is, if you look at the original anime series, a lot of them are very cool concepts, very interesting ideas, great characters. Then you get to the ending, and it's total fucking ass. Darling in the Franxx, I'm staring directly into your soul. Okay, Darling in the Franxx, look at me, Trigger. What did you do? All right, A1, Trigger, come over here. All right. Where's Big? What did you do? Why did you do that? Why? Why was Franxx like that, dude? You didn't have to do that. You shouldn't have done that. Fucked up. It was horrible. Ending was so fucking bad. But okay. This is something that plagues many anime originals, alright? Personally, I think Licorice Recoil ending was cleared the bar, okay? It was good enough. Not very good, but not nearly as bad as you can have an anime original go. Again. Why'd you do that, Trigger? It was so good. The first season was so good. You didn't have to do that. You literally could have just ended it on the first season. You could have just stopped, man. You didn't have to do that. Here I am lamenting about the ending of Franxx again. God damn. Absolutely devastating. So why do original series have such problems? Have problems with conclusions in particular. What gives? Right? It doesn't really make that much sense on the face of it, because like if you just think about it naively, you don't look at the mode of commodity production, as we're going to do. If you just think about it naively, you know, obviously, if you're comparing like adaptations to the original series, right? Okay, the adaptation, yeah, you have the story already written by somebody else. So you'd think, okay, if you're gonna do an original, obviously the way to do it is to write the story, you know, spend the time as a studio writing the story. Get your writer on the team, say, all right, we're cooking an original anime, time to write it up. You had this concept, we're in, love that, let's start working on the story. And you lay out the story, you say, okay, got 12 episodes, and the writer starts thinking, okay, what's the first arc gonna look like? That's gonna be this batch of episodes. What's the second arc gonna look like? What's this batch of episodes? Then we're gonna finish up the series in the final arc, and it's gonna look like this, and this is how it ends. You would think that's a pretty reasonable way to block out a story to start your production. So why is the end so bad? You know what I mean? What's the problem? Like, why do these series get such scuffed endings all the time? Well, the way that the planning and funding of these projects work, and this is due to so many things, right? Again, I'm not even gonna go into all the reasons why this, because there's the production committee stuff, there's the workers' rights stuff we talked about again and again and again. Let me just reiterate: unionize anime, animators, and I'll add this in there: writers strike. Let's go. I'm bringing it back right now. I'm putting it right on my forehead. Oh, flashing sign. Turn the flashing sign on. Unionize anime. Animator strike. Unionize anime. Animator strike. Unionized anime. Okay, I'm not. It's not working. But I'm just gonna leave it there. The way that the planning and the funding of these projects work, they're writing them while the show is being put out. I remember they fucking featured the author of Darling in the Franxx on TV. They did an interview with him while the show was airing. And he was talking about how I'm working on the ending. And that blew my mind. I was like, you tell me the ending of this show isn't done? Like, you started making the story without the ending ready to go? That's like the #1 cardinal sin of storytelling. Think of the final scene first. Think of the end of your story first, and then go into it. You need the start, you need the end. You need those signposts when you are doing storytelling to, you know, box in the whole thing, to give you a trajectory of your story and your characters and the meaning of your series. Isayama. Anyway. You know, you can't just go with the flow all the way. Going back to what we talked about in manga, it's a similar situation, right? But right, they don't get the time to do what you need to do to make the story, right? The schedules and the sort of tenuous nature of the entire product, the absolute shoestrings that these workers are, you know, getting to hold their lives together while they are trying to do this difficult task of crafting a good narrative with a compelling ending. The ending, having a good ending is really hard, by the way. Okay? I'm cooking some writers here, but it's really difficult, right? I'm saying, you know, just write a banger ending before you start telling the story, but that's actually really, really difficult. It's a lot easier to come up with an interesting start to your story than it is to take that same start and to tie it to a compelling end, right? That takes a lot more time. You need a lot more space as a creator. And if it's your job, then in that time, they would have to pay you to do that. Right? Because they're hiring you to do this. So, they don't want to spend that time. They don't have the money for you to spend that time doing what you need to do to actually have a good fucking ending to your story that makes sense. And connects with the themes and characters and everything that you're doing. It's really hard to do. You need a lot of time. You have to consider carefully what's going on. You have to really plan. And these projects don't get a lot of planning time. Once the money's there, you really have to hit the ground running and go, because the budget's tight and the time is tight. Because if investors don't start seeing the money coming back fast, they're going to start complaining. They're going to start whining. Potentially, they can take legal action if there are contracts involved, right? Like, it's messy, baby. And so, because of that overarching mode of commodity production in original anime that produces this really tight time schedule box for a writer to work in, they're fucking writing while the show is being put out. Absolutely deranged way to do this. Makes no fucking sense and is obviously going to affect the ending. Because the ending is the hardest part, right? You know, good beginning, you really just need a cool idea. And every fucking buddy has that one like spicy idea for a show that they would like to do. I'm cooking, bro. Let me cook, all right? I've got one. I have one. I'm not gonna say it now. Okay, someone steals my idea. I'm lying. Just because that's a wild aside, but. And I do want to wrap the stream up here soon. We're getting on 2 hours. My target time for these episodes. Even I'm working on a fucking time schedule over here. Sheesh. Right? And so you know, whenever that last episode hits, you better be ready for the story to end. Right, and this is an insane challenge for a story writer to come up against. Like this is deranged. The writers who can pull this off well, who cook up original anime series. Watanabe the god. Right? The people who can do this well they're storytelling gods, right? Like they're just spitting. Like they're just off the dome, week by week. I don't give a shit. I don't write shit because I don't have time. Literally. Literally. No plan. Just go in, go hard, freestyle story, drop it on a banger. www. Let's go. www.w.com. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. But obviously, even if you do it once, you probably can't do it twice. Definitely not twice in a row. And you probably can't even do it once, right? Like, that's an insane thing to do. That's not how you write. When you write, you plan. You know what I mean? Outline your essays, everybody. Write the outline. If you write the outline, it will be easier to write your essay, okay? I'm telling you, it helps you. It saves you time. Take the time up front, plan, and it will save you time in the end. And that's the thing. That's the thing. If they actually took the time to plan, okay, then it would make the overall production better. If the mode of commodity production fit in some time for planning, outlining, cooking up the actual good end, like a good ending for the story, up front, and sort of like planning out the pacing of that story, then yeah, it'd be awesome. You know, it would be better. And original anime production would actually work pretty much the same way as adaptation anime production. There wouldn't be this heavily imbalanced, there wouldn't be this imbalance towards, or this bias in production towards adaptations, because it's like the same thing. It's just this one, you know, you're getting the ideas from your team or one or two writers that you have working on your original properties. The ideas, the outlines, the scripts. For your original series, you have people cooking those. They come to you, they say, hey, new banger just dropped. I made it. Here's what it looks like. Here's the outline of the story structure. Let's fucking go. Right? And all of the shows with really good endings, like Madoka, Bebop, all of these, they planned shit, right? The answer isn't that, they had a god writer who could just make it happen. You get the good thing from putting in more effort, supporting people while they do it. Shocking. I know, I'm blowing minds here. I'm changing the whole fucking game. But there you go. Right, that's how you make them good, but we don't get that a lot because of the mode of production that original anime finds itself in. Those are two just examples of how this whole thing goes down. Why there's so many bullshit flashbacks in shonen, and why original anime have such shit endings all the time. And of course, while big man producer had his copium capitalist ideas about how to fix this, I'm just gonna say it one more time. Unionize anime. Animators strike, right? Unionize anime. Animators strike. Unionize anime. Animators strike. Unionize anime. Animators strike. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks Epi for stopping by. Shout out to the one and only Epi. Shout out to the fucking channel that Epi does a lot of promo and editing for. Some European chick. Leaking the DMs, there may or may not be some JoJo collabs coming up with some European chick. I don't know if Epi has heard anything about that. There may or may not be. She's doing a bunch of stuff right now. She's like me. She's trying to get a fucking job, get a real job, not a YouTube job, which is not. It's completely a ridiculous thing to try and do as a career. We're both just doing it as a fun thing. You know what I mean? She's been on kind of like a semi hiatus, and just like a bunch of shit going down in her IRL life. She talked about it on Twitter. So, but she's planning to start JoJo, and I may or may not start reading JoJo on stream, and when that happens, and by may or may not, I mean I will probably, it's gonna fucking happen. All right, get ready. However, all right, I vibe out. It'll be fun. It'll be cool. It'll be fun. It'll be cool. Stay tuned the rest of this year. I'm sure we'll get around to it sometime before the end of this year. Yeah. Unionize anime, animator strike. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna throw it to the end screen, and unionize anime, animator strike. 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 Oh, by the way, I'm planning on bringing back the Persona 5 streams. For all of those who actually stay to the ending. The Persona 5 stream later today. Let's go. Later tonight. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. www.